How fast can you start and complete an ARR Reborn relic weapon? Can it even be done in a single day? Well, it took me a bit shy of 9 hours, so that has to mean yes. But how would you go about doing this in the most efficient way possible? In this video, I will go over how you can do exactly that, as well as outlining any particular details to the way I did it, in case you wish to replicate my results for any reason. For first-timers, I will also try to highlight any points where things differ somewhat. There are several items that you can collect before you even start the particular Zodiac weapon you desire to make, although the first Zodiac weapon you ever make will go slightly differently, as some of the items may not be acquirable before you reach the given quest step. Assuming this is not your first relic, here is the full list of items you will need that can be acquired before you begin. Razatan Quenching Oil for 15 poetics, and 3 Thavnarian Mist for combined 60 poetics, 3 Superior Enchanted Ink for combined 75 poetics, 75 Alexandrite, which can be acquired in a handful of ways, chiefly among them through the maps that can be acquired through the daily quest Morbid Motivation in Mordona, as well as be purchased directly from Auriana in Mordona for 75 poetics apiece. Remember, you can haul around 3 maps at a time by deciphering one, having your Chocobo hold one, and carrying one yourself. Plenty of grade 1, 2, 3, and possibly 4 materia, as you will likely need more than a combined 75 of those. 4 bombard cores, bought for a combined 80,000 company seals. You must be a second lieutenant. 4 sacred spring water for combined 800 poetics. 1 furite sand from Whitebrim Front, Kurthas. 1 elegant resin from Forgotten Springs, Southern Thanalan. 1 bronze lake crystal from Gigirune's trading post in Oberlanosea. And 1 brass kettle from Hurstmill in North Shroud. Each of these 4 items are 100,000 gil each. You will also need 1 perfect firewood, pestle, mortar, vellum, cloth, and pounce, as well as a furnace ring and tailor-made eel pie. All high quality, which can be traded from other players or crafted yourself. If you wish to create the relic in one sitting without interruption, you will also need 1,500 poetics on hand for certain steps, as well as up to 27 Levequest allowance. Yes, really. You will also need 1 of each of the 12 Atma, which can be found by doing fates with an appropriate Zenith Zodiac weapon at any time. Remember, if this is your first relic, some of these items can only be acquired once you are at the appropriate step. Finally, depending on which job's relic you desire, you will need a specific weapon. It can be normal quality, melded with 2 specific materia. Some of them will get 0 benefit from the materia. This is intentional. Make sure your weapon is prepared and we can finally get started on the relic. Step 0. If this is actually your first Zodiac weapon, your journey starts with Nedrick Ironheart in Vesper Bay on the quest The Weaponsmith of Legend, which then takes you to Rowena in Mordona and then to Gerald in North Shroud. Simply a few talky steps to logically explain how you got here. Step 1. A Relic Reborn. This is where you pick which job's relic you will make. For my journey, I'm making a ninja relic, as they happen to have many movement speed advantages, not to mention a sufficiently concentrated burst to make all of the grinds as fast as possible. All of the jobs obviously can do this, some just take a bit longer. First, you must go and get a specific item from somewhere, which differs for each job. Once you come back, Gerald will ask you for the pre-melded weapon. In my case, it is the Vampir's Knives with Heaven's Eye materia, which is crafted using bloody knife blades, a random dungeon drop from Wanderer's Palace, or alternatively, a possible reward from half a dozen Levequests. Next, you're tasked with doing the A Relic Reborn, the Chimera trial, which can be done unsynced. If you have already done this step before, you can simply queue without traveling to the duty starting point, obviously. Next, you'll be sent to Rowena in Mordona. While you're there, you can pick up the Quenching Oil and Mist if you hadn't already. After this, you must complete the duty Amdapor Keep. Take note, there are a few duties with very similar names. It can be done unsynced. After that, return to Rowena and then to Gerald. Next, you must equip the unfinished weapon that Gerald handed you, and then go and deliver total annihilation to a particular beast tribe as designated by your quest. A combined 24 kills is needed. And after that, while still equipped with this unfinished weapon, do the Relic Reborn, the Hydra trial. Again, can be done unsynced. If you have done a Zodiac weapon before, you can queue directly from where you stand. Once finished, unequip the weapon to hand it back to Gerald. After that, you must clear Ifrit Heart, Garuda Heart and Titan Heart, in that order. Can be done unsynced. And finally, Gerald will ask you for that quenching oil, completing step 1. All of the follow-up steps mostly have quests introducing them, but don't actually have quests guiding you through, so you need to keep track of where you are in the sequence yourself. You do have to go through the quest chain the first time though. For my run, it took me around 18 minutes to complete this whole task of getting the initial weapon. Step 2. Zenith Zodiac weapons. With your newly made relic in hand, as well as 3 Savanarian Mist, simply take 2 wide steps, maybe 4 if you're a Lalafell, over to the furnace here, and use these items to purchase a Zenith version of your weapon. Step 3. Atma Zodiac weapons. To upgrade your weapon to the next step, you will need one of each of 12 different Atma items. Atma of the Lion, Water Bearer, Ram, Crab, Fish, Bull, Scales, Twins, Scorpion, Archer, Goat and Maiden. Each of these Atma are each associated with one specific zone and have a 20% chance to drop when you complete a fate with a Zenith Zodiac weapon equipped. As Atmas are not unique, you can accumulate Atma for future relic weapons if you so desire. I highly recommend using your Chocobo companion while doing this step to make things a bit easier. If you haven't prepared Atmas in advance, this will probably be the second longest step of the relic journey. There isn't really a trick to it, you simply need to go to each zone and do the fates there until you get the Atma drops. Remember to equip your Zenith Zodiac weapon. As I had prepared plenty of Atma beforehand though, this step took about a minute for me to remember. I had to talk with Jalsan and pick Relic Weapon Zenith Enhancement, because I am enhancing a Zenith weapon to Atma. Step 4. Animus, also known as, oh god, the books. For this step, you will need 900 Poetics and a lot of time, because whether you have those Poetics or not, this will be the longest step on your journey, by far. The quest will direct you to Jijusana in Modona, who will sell you 9 different books of tasks to imbue your relic weapon for 100 Poetics each. Make sure to equip your relic weapon and keep it equipped while working on any book task. Each book must be fully completed before you move on to the next. There is no specific order the books must be completed in. There's no specific order the tasks in a book must be completed in. As long as you finish each book before purchasing the next, you're fine. You do not need to discard a book before receiving the next, but again, you must complete your current one first. Now, for some tips for approaching your books in the most efficient way. The Fate step will typically be the most time-consuming of the 4 tasks, simply because you rely on randomly spawning fates that can come and go before you even notice, and can take a while to check for, so prioritizing getting them out of the way first in a somewhat efficient fashion is a good idea. Check each of the zones the fates spawn in. Take note that some of the fates may have a fate preceding it that must succeed for the fate you actually need to spawn, and some may require you to talk with a specific NPC to even initiate it. For a particularly obnoxious example of this, the fate, the enmity of my enemy, requires the preceding fate, the enemy of my enemy, to succeed, and that fate is triggered by talking with an NPC nearby. As long as you have not completed the fates in your current book, work on the other tasks in it while regularly checking back to see if the fate spawned. If you reach a point where only the fate tasks remain, I recommend checking the other worlds on your data center if they have them spawned, as this can save you a ton of time. but might not be worth it if you have other things you need to get done. In my case, for my ninja journey, I had not 1, not 2, but 3 friends scouting the whole data center for the fates in advance, allowing me to simply arrive and reap the benefits, which explains why it only took me 7 hours to complete this whole step of the relic. Yes, 7 hours. For the Levequests, take note that a Levemate will always only offer a certain number of Leves at any one time, which is typically less than all of the Leves they can offer. If you arrive at a Levemate that is supposed to have one of the Leves for your book, but they don't have it, there are a few ways you can easily refresh the task list until they do. Every time you hand in a Levequest, all Levemates will refresh their display of Leves, giving you a new chance for them to have the specific one you wanted. For this reason, if you want to minimize the number of Leve allowance you spend, or alternatively the amount of Leves you have to do, same, right? Check each of the 3 Levemates for the Leves you need and pick up the ones that are there. If any were missing, complete one of the ones you did find and then check for the missing ones. Repeat until you have done all 3. Should you end up with 0 in hand remaining while not yet finished, simply complete a Levequest from any Levemate to get another chance. Or worst case, try again tomorrow. They also refresh their display daily. An additional detail to take note of in regards to Levemates refreshing their list is that you can at most have the specific number of Leves the Levemate offers at a time from them. So if you already have 2 of the 4 Leves they will show at a time, and you complete a Leve somewhere else, while that specific Levemate will refresh their list, they will only show you 2 Leves as long as you have 2 of their other Leves in hand, even if they have a total of 6 or 7 Leves they could possibly offer. So grabbing a Leve from an unrelated Levemate to complete to refresh the Levemates you're actually interested in is also a solid choice if you have allowance to spare. There isn't really much you can do to optimize the mob kill step besides clearing any that happen to be in a zone you're in anyway. But there are some tips for the dungeon step. The first one is that you can do them unsynced. The second one, if this is your first Zodiac weapon, you can skip this part. But if this is not your first Zodiac weapon, you can complete the books in a specific order to save yourself some work on a future step. Pick up the quests A Pawn's of Flesh, Labor of Love, and A Treasured Mother in Modona, as well as Method in His Malice in Central Thanalan, and progress all of the quests until they ask you for things from dungeons. For the following sequence, obviously complete Levequests, mobs and fates before moving on to the next book, but pertaining specifically to the dungeon portion, do the following. Grab Sky Fall Book 1 and do its dungeons. Progress Pawns of Flesh, grab Sky Earth Book 1, clear its dungeons, and grab Sky Wind Book 1 and clear its dungeons. Then grab Sky Fall Book 2, clear its dungeons, and progress A Labor of Love. Then do both Skyfire Book 1 and 2's dungeons, one after the other, then progress Method in His Malice. And grab Sky Wind Book 2 and clear it, and progress Method in His Malice again. Then grab the last Fire Book, Nether Fire 1, clear it, and then the last Fall Book, Nether Fall 1, and clear that. Ultimately, simply progress the 4 quests whenever possible and do the books in the order of Fall, Earth, Wind, Fall, Fire, Fire, Wind, Fire, Fall. It will save you a ton of time. A final little tip is to finish each book with the dungeons, as they, unlike the 3 other sections of the books, are not going anywhere. Now, this one step is guaranteed to take you the most time of all the tasks, and none of the parts in this step can be done beforehand. Despite the fact I knew where I was going and what I was doing to minimize the time it took, despite the fact I had 3 friends helping me to rush the fates as fast as possible, each book still took me an average of 44 minutes. And this is including me running the dungeons so fast that I actually managed to glitch out Copperbell Mine's heart. I didn't even know that was possible. So if you're not in a rush, try to spread out the tasks over the week, right? What's that Spriggan doing? He's just here. He's just hanging out. Don't worry about him. Don't question the Spriggan that's just hanging out. Just softlock by skipping the Sprig? Is that possible? Step 5. Novus and Alexandrite. Once you have finally finished the last book, return to Jalsan and choose Atma Weapon Enhancement. For the next step, you know the drill. First time, do the quest and follow it through. This is where you will need 3 superior enchanted ink to purchase the sphere scroll associated with your weapon from Hubertin in central Thanalan. Celestial Radiance unlocks the option, and Starlight Star Bright is the quest to enhance your first weapon. For this step, you simply need 75 Alexandrite, which, as mentioned, can be acquired in a multitude of ways. But the, in my opinion, by far easiest and fastest approach is to use the mysterious maps, as they give 5 at a time, putting a price tag of about 15 poetics per Alexandrite. Simply decipher the map, go to where it says, dig and kill the mobs. With a reasonably high level job, this should be a cinch. To enhance a stat on the scroll, you will need lots of regular materia. However, you can initially only use grade 1 materia on it. Once a specific stat has been enhanced 11 times, you can, and will be forced to, switch to grade 2 materia of the same type. After 11 more enhances, it goes up to grade 3 and then grade 4. As you get closer to the 11 enhances, a failure rate is introduced. However, only the regular materia is lost when it fails. You will keep the Alexandrite, so don't worry. Which stats you enhance with is actually completely irrelevant, as Zodiac weapons take so long to make that a player genuinely aiming to make them for their power will easily progress into Heavensward and find superior weapons before naturally completing a relic, meaning this is only for the glamour or the prestige. Now, you will have to mash through this Alexandrite menu at least 75 times. And no, there is no easier way. It will actually take this much mashing. Once you're finished, return to Jalsan and choose Animus enhancement. This took me about 10 minutes. Obviously, if you don't have the Alexandrite on hand, or for some reason make the dreadful decision to collect the materia yourself, this will take a lot longer. Step 6. Nexus and light farming. Once your relic is enhanced with the sphere scroll, the Soul Glazed Relics quest allows you to have Jalsan soul glaze your weapon, which effectively allows it to absorb light. He will also give you a Zodiac glass item that can be used to check vaguely how much light it has currently absorbed. While this can be handy to keep track of your progress, there will genuinely be a huge fanfare and pop-up on your screen when it is completed, so you really don't need to worry. Now, how is light obtained, you may ask? Almost any A Realm Reborn combat task will give your weapon light, as long as you completed the task with the weapon equipped. However, some tasks give significantly more light than others. Additionally, among the level 50 tasks, certain tasks will, at certain times, give more light. Exactly which tasks are in this happy hour mode changes every 2 hours, and the only indicator for this is doing the task and observing that the light reward is more than you expected. Now, the way the light is valued is as follows. Feeble, 8 points. Gentle, 16 points. Bright, 32 points. Brilliant, 48 points. Blinding, 96 points. And Newborn Star, 128 points. You need a total of 2,000 points to finish the light farm. As such, picking the tasks that give the most light per time spent is optimal. A crucially important detail to keep in mind before starting your grind is that there is a hard cap of 100 dungeons per day. And if you reach this limit, you will be, for some reason, blocked from the duty finder altogether until the daily reset. As such, I would personally advise against making use of dungeons at all for this part of the Relic Weapon journey. That said, my recommended targets are Ifrit Extreme and King Mugglemog Extreme, praise be his fluffiness. Both unsynced, of course. Both of these give 32 points, and which one you should pick comes down to the following. If Ifrit can be killed before he becomes invulnerable, the duty can be over in under 4 seconds. If he becomes invulnerable, the duty will take over a minute, and it is, in fact, more effective to simply leave and try again. For King Mugglemog, you might be able to one-shot him, but the timing is tighter, and if you do, this is also about 4 seconds. If you miss the one-shot, it will be closer to 12 seconds. If the king survives with over 42% HP, then it will be closer to 26 seconds. Still, the average should be about 12 seconds, and should be reasonably reachable for most jobs. You will need to be able to one-shot the Mog's Guard for this to take a relevant amount of time, as whether you do Ifrit or Mugglemog, you will need about 63 clears to finish this step, unless one of them is in their happy hour, which will reduce the number to about 42 runs. Which just so happens to be the case for me with Ifrit, although I waste a lot of time experimenting to get a combo that actually beat him before the invuln. Simply repeat whatever task you choose until the big fanfare appears telling you that you're done. Then talk with Jalsan and choose Novus enhancement. If you're not planning to do the whole relic in one day, then Aurum Vale is considered the most efficient light farming dungeon. Again, unsynced. This step ended up taking about 25 minutes for me. I tried Hyosorandryu into Dream, not consistent. I tried Tenjijin, cancel it, into Hyosorandryu and Tenrijindo, not consistent either. I then went for King Mugglemog with this strategy instead, which was somewhat reliable, and then I was recommended to simply do Tenjijin into Tenrijindo, as in use the 3 jutsus, on Ifrit, and it worked every time. Step 7. Braves and the quests. If this is your first relic, first get the quest Wherefore art thou, Zodiac? Going, then go to Madonna and pick up the quests A Paunch of Flesh from Papana, Labor of Love from Guiding Star, and A Treasured Mother from Brangwine. She's the one with the daily quest that gives one mysterious map too. Then go to Central Thanalan, back to where you got the Sphere Scroll, and get Method in His Malice from Atkin. And then you will need to collect all of the remaining items from the initial shopping list from the very start of the video. 4 Bombard Cores for 20k company seals each from your Grand Company. 4 Sacred Spring Water for 200 Poetics each from the special arms menu of any Poetics vendor. 1 Furite Sand from the Merchant and Mender in Whitebrim Front in Kurthas. 1 Allegan Resin from the Merchant and Mender in Forgotten Springs in Southern Thanalan. 1 Bronze Lake Crystal from the Junkmonger at Jijirune's trading post in Oberlanosha. And 1 Brass Kettle from the Tool Supplier and Mender in Hurstmill in North Shroud. Additionally, you will also need 1 perfect firewood, pestle, mortar, vellum, cloth, pounce, and a furnace ring, as well as a tailor-made eel pie. All these perfect items must be high quality and are crafted, one with each existing crafter. Each item is also crafted from a material that each comes from desynthesizing a specific item. The items that need to be desynthed each cost 3000 gil and are also bought from this specific vendor in Western Thanalan, and are not guaranteed to give the item, so you might be there for a while. And it could get pricey. Personally, I just bought the finished items off the market board. But for an example, the perfect firewood requires grenade ash, some cypress logs, and an aged spear shaft. The shaft is acquired by desynthing an aged spear, surprise surprise, from that same vendor in Western Thanalan. Overall, you can probably save gil by doing the legwork yourself, but if you're not too fussed about the price, just remember, the perfect items themselves are tradable on the market. Once you have all of the items in hand, simply progress the various quests. Fortunately, the 4 quests will never ask you to run a dungeon more than once and have 0 overlap, so you can progress them as you please. Just make sure to actually progress them. You don't even need to wear the Relic Weapon to progress them. If this was not your first Zodiac weapon and you did the books in the order I recommended, you will be resuming this step with about 6 dungeons that still needed to be completed. A tip specifically for Stone Vigil Hard is that you can attack the turtle directly, which may be faster with a max level job. If you have a high level blue mage, using spells like Missile can also help cut the time shorter. Once all 4 quests are finished, return to Jalzan and choose Zodiac Weapon Recreation. Because of the time saved by doing the books in a specific order, this step only took me about 33 minutes. Quick fun fact, normally when you hand in these quests, you can immediately pick them up again if you want to. However, when you hand in a Treasured Mother, if you already have Morbid Motivation, the map daily, then Brangwine will not offer you her other quest. She will eventually, but at least not in that very moment. Might require more testing on this bug. Step 8. The Zeta Victory Lab. For your first relic, complete the quest Rise and Shine, which will lead you to Reborn in Swift Purge. Equip your relic, and Reborn will offer to attach a specific Mahatma, not to be confused with Atma, one at a time, in a specific order. You cannot do this wrong. Each Mahatma costs 50 poetics and requires its own separate light farm like back in step 6. However, it is not nearly as intense. To finish a Mahatma, you need 40 points, and the points are ranked as follows. Feeble, 4 points. Faint, 8 points. Gentle, 16 points. Steady, 24 points. And both Forceful and Nigh Sings are beyond 40 points. Both Ifrit and King Muggle Extreme are gentle, meaning 3 clears per Mahatma. Aurum Vale is steady, meaning 2 clears per Mahatma. Or you could do 1 Aurum Vale and 1 Ifrit or King Muggle, like that would also give 40 points, you get the deal. Once again, you can use your Zodiac Glass to check your progress. Every time a Mahatma is finished, go back to Reborn and request the next Mahatma to continue. The finishing message is in the chat log, not a big exploding message on your screen with fanfare and everything, as far as I recall. This means, for example, that you could do a combined 36 Ifrit Extreme runs, or 36 Dawn March Extreme runs, or 24 Aurum Vale runs, or 12 Aurum Vale and 12 Ifrit Extreme runs, or whatever. But again, just remember the 100 dungeon limit. And this step took me about 20 minutes to complete. A bonus tip for both this and the previous light farm, if you're having trouble dealing with the extreme trials quickly enough, is that you can simply bring friends. Although, if one person in your group is capable of consistently beating, for instance, Ifrit Extreme without help, then for consistency's sake, let them do it. Once all 12 Mahatmas are done, return to Jalzan and pick the Zodiac Weapon Awakening option. And you are finished. Remember also that, once acquired, you can, while the relic is in your possession, or if you sacrifice it in the making of a Heavensward relic, permanently buy the replicas of these relics from the replica vendor near Gerald. And this added up to a combined run on my part of 8 hours, 26 minutes and 39 seconds, including the fact that I prepped most things I could beforehand, and I had help with finding the fates quickly during the book step, and the fact I teamed up to help my healer friend finish their relic in the Mahatma step at the end too, and also including breaks during it. And if you want to see how all this madness played out in full, the VOD is right here on YouTube, link in the description. It is worth noting that you could technically clear the quest steps repeatedly separate from relic weapons to just stock up on the quest items beforehand, but because of the severe overlap between book step dungeons and quest step dungeons, I would consider that a huge waste of time. Do you have some stories about your A Realm Reborn relic weapon grinds? Or maybe some questions? Or maybe a tip to share? Whatever it is, I would love to hear about it all in the comments. Now, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to support me and my channel more directly, you can become a member like these wonderful people here. You can also alternatively support me through Ko-Fi, link in the description. You can also support the channel by letting the YouTube algorithm know by liking the video, leaving a comment, subscribing, sharing, and hitting the bell to get notified when next I post a video. Fun fact, while nowadays we consider the book step strictly the worst step of the Zodiac weapon journey, back in actual A Realm Reborn, the Atma supposedly had an abysmal 2% drop rate, meaning, on average, you would need to do 600 fates per weapon, which, even if it took only 1 minute per fate, still would take 10 hours to complete. And let's be honest, we both know it ain't taking 1 minute each.